Hello and welcome to the SME Focus show powered by MTDCNC. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation. On this week's show, as always, we aim to highlight aspects of UK manufacturing or topics of interest to SMEs. Therefore, my guests today are Adrian Haller, MD of the precision press manufacturer Bruderer, and Rowan Crozier, CEO of the precision presswork company Brandauer. Hi gents, how are you doing?
Great.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Thanks for coming on. And when people watch this, they can look in the windows and see that this was recorded during the British summer. And don't we remember those couple of days?
Yes.
I've also probably ought to explain to viewers that whilst a large part of my life is spent working with Swiss companies and the sensor company Contronex, this episode isn't actually a tribute to working with Swiss companies, because despite the sound of the names, Bruderer is a Swiss company, which I'm probably butchering the name. Brandauer is a 164-year-old Birmingham company. So I'm sure Rowan can tell us the history of the name, but there's a proper West Midlands through and through manufacturing company in the room, even if the names are confusing us. In fact, that seems a perfect spot to ask you, Rowan, can you tell us about a 164-year-old Birmingham company, or better known as a world-class metal stamping and tooling company? Tell us about Brandauer.
Yeah, of course. So Brandauer, as you've kindly introduced us, we've got a pedigree for stamping thin gauge metal components for more than 160 years. The company was founded in 1862, manufacturing pen nibs for fountain pens, dipping ink pens. And it pretty much did that right through till the mid-50s. From the mid-50s onwards, the company's diversified, and we're currently supplying 10 different sectors, 26 different countries. And we're still stamping thin gauge metal, but in addition to that, we're manufacturing all our own high-speed progression tooling, as well as offering advisory and precision machine components on a one-off up to small batch basis, employing 63 people at the moment, turning over about £10 million, and a heavy focus on development of young talent and young people. But perhaps we'll talk more on that a bit later.
Yep. So I should say that if you want to compare Rowan's description against episode 257, you'll find Stuart Berry, who's the director of manufacturing, was my guest about 20 episodes ago. So we can hold the two up to light and see who did the best description. Similarly, Adrian's also been a guest on before. So can I ask you to give a quick recap of the company, Adrian, and maybe go on to explain the link between the two companies and the role that millions of razor blades play?
Yeah. So Bruderer UK is the arm of the Swiss subsidiary Switzerland. We've been in the UK for 58 years supporting UK manufacturing. And indeed, Brandauer is one of our very first customers in the UK, way back in the 1960s, where we tied swords, if you like, with regards to supplying them high precision, high speed stamping machines to help them with their manufacturing forte. We, as a company, pride ourselves in getting involved with manufacturing companies, not just from the fact that we sell high precision machines, but also for the part of offering solutions for such companies like Brandauer's. And yes, the razor blade project that Brandauer's have got is very, very impressive, especially when it fills the full mouth of our Bruderer machines, showcasing their fantastic capabilities of manufacturing of high precision press tools.
Okay, brilliant. That sounds a good summary. Can I ask you to tell us a little bit about your individual backgrounds before we talk more about the companies and manufacturing stuff? So can I kick off, Adrian? As I mentioned, you were a guest back on episode 232, but can you give us a recap of your many, many years at Bruderer and also your many, many years as MD at Bruderer? So go on, can you kick off and give us a background, a little bit about you, your career, your passions?
Yeah, so I started off as a young lad enjoying messing with Lego, if you like. And my dad gave me a light bulb and a battery. And from there on, it grew into an enthusiasm for anything to do with mechanical engineering. Went from a school history and to a company in the Midlands, whereby I did my apprenticeship as a toolmaker, and went through to project engineering, got to qualifications of HNC in electromechanical engineering, and then pushed my way through into the sales of Bruderer. Worked my way up to sales director, and then to managing director. 19 years managing director and 28 years as working for Bruderer. So that's how my career path has grown from the way heights of a nipper. But again, it started from the enthusiasm of my dad showing me about working on cars, motorbikes, and just giving a battery and a light bulb when I was very, very small.
I think it's an amazing story when I've had the pleasure of coming to your site and seeing how impressive the site is as well as the machinery. So it's a hell of a journey from messing around with Lego to being in charge and building such an impressive business within the UK.
Yeah, I mean, we're extremely proud of what we've done here and showcasing the best of high precision press work and tooling that can be given within the UK. And so, again, supporting UK manufacturing. That's the only reason why we're here. And from that point of view, if you can follow an enthusiasm through not only your personnel that's working, but to your customers as well, and the youth. The youth is so important, because if we do not get them interested in engineering and manufacturing, then there's no hope for the UK as an economic environment.
Yeah, true. So, Rowan, a bit tongue-in-cheek, I'll say, so you've only been at Brandauer, and I stress the only, for 16 years. So positively young compared to old Adrian. Can I ask you to tell us similarly about your origins, your time with the company, and also your activities supporting UK manufacturing and leading on to you being recognised with an MBE, please?
Yeah. So it started almost identically to Adrian's story. I was a kid that liked playing with Lego, and if I'm honest, didn't really know what engineering was, but enjoyed building stuff and fixing stuff. Learned a lot from my dad, my granddad, and my stepdad about that. And it wasn't until I got into the latter stages of school and doing my GCSEs that I had a school teacher that said, "Oh, you should get into engineering. You'd make a great engineer." And I said, "What's one of those?" And as it happens, it was the best piece of advice I could have had, because I love what I do. So I was fortunate enough to leave school and get a place at Loughborough University. I studied mechanical and materials engineering for 3 years, and then came straight out into a job working for Rolls-Royce, which was a fantastic company, a fantastic kickstart. However, I didn't enjoy working in a big company environment. I wanted to work in a smaller company environment. I didn't really know what that was until I actually found it. And I worked for 2 other companies prior to Brandauer. Both of them are, relatively speaking, small to medium-sized businesses. And again, similarly to Adrian, really, I cut my teeth on engineering and development roles, and found myself inheriting sales as well. And I came to Brandauer 16 years ago, as you rightfully say, as sales and marketing director, but found myself with responsibilities for quality, new product introduction, supply chain, amongst other things. And in 6 years, I was promoted to chief exec. I was shocked to be awarded out of the blue an MBE a couple of years ago. It was in recognition for contribution to manufacturing and enterprise. I do quite a lot of stuff outside of the stuff I do for Brandauer on a voluntary basis. Examples: developing curriculum for Birmingham City University. I chair the National Advisory Board for Make UK, amongst other advisory boards for other organisations. And then I do quite a lot of work with charities as well. So I think it was all of that really that shaken up that got that recognition, and I was humbled and honoured to accept it, really. And the final sort of culmination was actually having the opportunity to purchase Brandauer as part of a management buyout last September. So the business, as you introduced it, has been in existence for 164 years, 163 under the ownership of the Pettits, and about 8 months under the ownership of Rowan Stewart and David Chapman.
Brilliant. Thank you for that summary. In every episode, I like to try and pick a key point using the guest's history and give them a musical reference point. That's partly so people can relate to a period of time, but more just to plant an earworm in their mind that can annoy them all the rest of the day. It was mentioned that the first order between your two companies was the early 1960s, and the biggest chart hit and best-selling single of the early 60s was She Loves You by the Beatles, and the energy and the jolliness and the happiness of that just seems appropriate to celebrating manufacturing and how there's not enough jolliness and loudness and excitement talked about in manufacturing, even though I think we all share it. So I'm going to give a shout out quickly to She Loves You by the Beatles, released August 63. Back to talking 60-year relationships. Rowan, I understand there's 38 presses, or possibly 39 presses now, Bruderer presses at Brandauer. Can I ask you how the relationships worked, and if you've got any thoughts on the advantages of working with partners over a longer period of time? I mean, I guess I'm not talking working with partners for over 60 years, but maybe longer is working with your suppliers over a couple of projects rather than project by project.
Yeah, of course, deep-rooted relationships or partnerships are absolutely fundamental to our success. Whether that be customers, suppliers, any sort of interested stakeholders, I suppose, we do pride ourselves on maintaining those long-term relationships, because with that comes an understanding of how each other trade, our preferences, what we need from our partners. And I say this goes up the chain as well as down the chain, and I think it's vitally important. Bruderer have been a founding partner really with Brandauer, as you say, for almost a incomprehensible amount of time, 60 years. But with that comes that deep understanding of our industry, what it involves, which is quite vital, because we're not just any press worker. We deal in microns. We stamp materials that range from 0.05 millimeters thick. And with that comes a specialist knowledge and understanding from our partner and supply base. And Bruderer have got that pedigree. They've worked with us for such a long time. Their offerings are aligned to exactly what we need. And it means, quite practically, it means that if we've got a problem or if we've got an opportunity, Adrian is just a phone call away. I can pick up the phone and sort of gauge his interest, gauge his understanding and knowledge, and see if it's something we can work on together.
Cool. Adrian, can I ask your thoughts as well about working with partner customers, partner suppliers? What examples and opportunities have you seen? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I concur with what Rowan said, but, you know, it is an awful long time. And in the case of Brandauer's, I've seen 3 generations through that company. You know, I saw the Edwards Jones, Adam Pettit, David Spears, and now Rowan, and the team that's there now. And the people that you've met across those years, you know, they walk in there, they say, all right, Ada, how you doing? It is an influence where there's no frontage, you know, and so the communications are outspoken. If something needs to be said, it's said. And therefore, we are helping each other out. And it works 2 ways. You know, yes, we're supplying a machine or a concept or what have you, but equally so, their experience in the tooling and the manufacture of precision tooling helps us out as well. So it's a 2-way street. It's not just one company supplying a machine. It is got to come back as well. And I have to touch on again, and we've mentioned it several times. I know we're coming to it shortly, is the discussions and the amount of groups that Brandauer as a company is involved in. We walk and talk in the same fields, with it be an exhibition in Germany, an exhibition in the UK, or if we're talking about future education of our youth today. And so collectively it works excellent, and the communication is like, pick up the phone, all right, Rowan, how's it going? Or vice versa. That is priceless as regards to any kind of business relationship with any partner. And as long as we can maintain that, it's the best for both of us.
That's good. This episode came about really off the back of the latest investment, and I thought I'd mention a little bit about it because it's very substantial. So £700,000 will have been the words that will have gone into my Friday good news, whenever that was, a few months ago. But technology-wise, we're talking about a press that can deliver 51 tons of power, but at over 1,000 strokes per minute. Rowan talked about how incredibly precise and thin the materials you work with. Can I ask you to tell us a little bit more about the press line, how it strengthens your business, Rowan, and then perhaps, Adrian, can you talk more about the capability and complexity of the machine, the 4-element modular tooling, the decoilers, feeders? Hit us with all the tech, but can I kick off with Rowan first and ask you how it strengthens the business?
Yeah, cool. So this came about, this opportunity, as a sort of piece of strategic work that we did to identify new market areas for Brandauer to trade in. And we were fortunate enough after that piece of work to break into the supply of a consumer item, which is a razor frame, and it goes into the head of a gent's razor, whether it be 2, 4 or 6 blade versions. And since breaking that market a number of years ago, we've seen significant growth in interest from other competitors in that market. So the most recent one is I can actually say the name, which is quite rare, but most of our customers don't want it mentioned, but it's Lord International, and they're based in Egypt. They're developing a new subscription razor, 6-blade variant, which is recyclable, I suppose. There's quite a lot of metal content in the head of the razor to make it more recyclable. And we quickly secured that business, a little quicker than we thought, actually, and that therefore required investment in a new press line. And complex in terms of tooling, which we were manufacturing. So it's a 4-module high-speed progression tool that runs in there, the biggest tool we've ever made, most complex tool we've ever made. But then we also needed a press, cleaning line, recoilers and decoilers to feed that line as well. And it became very evident on this particular job was going to be a set and run job with minimal changeovers due to the modularity in the tools, that it was very much suited to a Bruderer press. That, coupled with quite a demanding lead time, which none of Bruderer's competitors could actually achieve, meant that we after a very short phone call conversation, as we just alluded to earlier on, we proceeded with partnering with Bruderer to deliver that line.
Cool. Adrian, time to tell us technology.
Okay, yeah. So the machine itself is running the latest control system at that time, and the requirement that Brandauer required was absolute pinpoint precision feeding mechanism, with also bottom dead center accuracy. And with the those details running from, say, 100 strokes up to their maximum speed, maintaining BDC is absolutely paramount. And when we looked at the size of the tools and the drawings of the tools, it fits the Bruderer tight. It is a really impressive thing. I think if you saw some of the pictures on our latest publication together, where both me and Rowan are in front of the machine, it really is an impressive sight, you know. And again, it was 2 engineering companies working to very, very high precision, with lots of possible issues that could have gone wrong, but all collectively it went very, very, very well.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've talked about an investment in a machine, a supply of machine, and the supply of machines going back many, many years. But Adrian, when we chatted at MAC, you mentioned a particular example of the relationship extending beyond just transactional purchase orders. Can I ask you to tell me more about this and any other examples come to mind? So we were talking apprentice to service engineer, but can you tell us more about that and maybe any other examples of the relationship between the two companies?
Yeah, with that one in mind, we went there to visit Brandauer's to look at what's going on, what new developments they've got in new projects, and talking about these projects and what have you. And we sat down and had a cup of tea, as you do. And Rowan says, I've got a bit of a question to ask you. He says, you know, we've got, as you know, an apprentice team here and this, that, and the other. You know, speaking to one of my apprentices, and they asked him, you know, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Are you enjoying yourself here? And this guy came out and said, I'd like to be a Bruderer service engineer. Now, you know, that's one thing, because then, you know, that's the dream made up. But Rowan was grateful enough to have taken this lad on, trained the lad, and is looking not just for Brandauer, he is looking for the youth's future. And then he then said, Aid, would you mind talking to this lad, maybe having a few experience days at Bruderer, in order for him to see if he really would want to be a Bruderer engineer, and let's see where this goes. Now, that's fantastic on Brandauer's part and indeed Rowan, because if that had not been put forward to us trying to find new talent, new people which want to do something and actually stand out there and say, I would like to be a Bruderer service engineer, that is what dreams are made of. And we will make his dream come true collectively with Rowan and his team. So that is on a point of view as staffing or the future of both companies. But moving on, you know, we have got several projects, both Brandauer's and Bruderer, where we want to put tooling and our turnkey projects with Brandauer so that they can actually help us partner in supplying a full turnkey solution for other customers. And that in turn helps us work well. And the thing is with Brandauer is they've got the tooling experience, they've got the machines, and so therefore half the battle is already being done when we come to try and do these projects, and vice versa. When they've got projects that they need to do, they call on our insight and our knowledge so that we can try and help them. And in some cases, we don't profit either way. It's the fact of the relationship that helps us build the future.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. You've both got a lot of experience, as we discussed at the beginning, so leading successful UK businesses and therefore a lot of knowledge of the UK manufacturing landscape. So can I ask you some more general questions about UK manufacturing? Your businesses are both very much focused on investment, and I'm going to throw in the comment that maybe what's holding back the UK has been a history of a lack of investment. So thank goodness we can celebrate companies that do invest. What are your thoughts on business investments? Whilst this episode was prompted by a large capital investment, maybe we can broaden investment out into whatever definition you want to be. So that can be investing in people or whatever. But can you tell me your observations and thoughts for UK manufacturing with particularly an SME perspective on investment, please? To kick off with Rowan.
I mean, as an SME, it's a delicate tightrope balance you have to sort of walk along with regards to investment, because very often you have to make speculative investments rather than investments that are wrapped around a piece of new business that we've just discussed.
Yeah, cool.
Just to stand still, we know we have to invest somewhere between 700,000 and £1 million every year. That's just to maintain the right level of capability, whether it's our wire EDMs or our high-speed presses or infrastructure investment to make us better or more efficient. All of that has to go on anyway. So in addition to that, you've obviously got to invest in new equipment for new projects as well. And you're very right. You mustn't forget probably your number one asset in the business that you've got to invest in, which is your people. You get all of the timing wrong or out of kilter on any of those, and you can set yourself back a significant period of time. So we spend quite a lot of time considering what our 5 and 10-year business plans are, and then aligning our growth and our investment over the top of that. So we have some sort of plan to work to over the next sort of 3, 6, 9 years roughly. So we've got milestones to move through and make sure we're tracking along, maintaining A, the level of capability we need to stand still, but B, have some money to invest into new projects for exciting customers like Lord, where it comes to supplying those razor frames globally. And then on the people side of it, we've just taken on a new HR lead, and we're working quite hard on a workforce development plan that will therefore future-proof the business in terms of succession and new skills that are emerging into the industry.
Adrian, can I ask you the same question about investment and about people, and also your thoughts on SME UK manufacturing?
The reason why we're here is UK manufacturing, and that's what we're there for, is to support UK manufacturing. So the investment of this new premises in Telford and the infrastructure within that is for UK manufacturing. As regards to Bruderer UK, as investing within, it is absolutely paramount that you invest in your people, and that is by any means possible. Training, first aid training, life skills, personal skills, and keep developing that all the time. You need to speak as a managing director, as a leader, to actually show these people that there's a future and that the future is planned out for them. You know, myself at 54, 55 years of age, you know, I've got to show people that there is a transition within the company, and the fact that we're putting the bedstones down from apprentices all the way through the middle part of the company, all the way up to the top. So therefore, not only showing the people there's a future, but also our customers, such as Brandauer, that we're here not for 5 minutes, not for 10 minutes to make a quick buck. We're here for the future. So that goes as regards investment. As regards to other things for SMEs, the governments and what have you, and I know we don't want to talk about this, but they're just not helping manufacturing companies like they should be. The compliance that we have to go through every day, not just us, but also the likes of Brandauer and such like, is absolutely incredible, and it's just a negative effect, net zero negative effect, and it's not helping them. We're expected to play on a global platform, field, or whatever you want to call it, and quite frankly, it's not stacked in our favor. But we are successful, even though we have all these things against us, compliance and what have you, and we're still making very good and very profitable businesses, such as Brandauer's, and this we should take pride in. And if ever the platform or the field does become flat, we will be a force to be reckoned with. That is true.
Rowan, can I ask you your thoughts? And if we broaden it to the challenges that you face as a business as well, as Adrian talked about.
Yeah, I mean, as an SME, it's just another day in battle with legislation and rules and regs that we have to meet. And I think there is a delicate balance between making those reasonable, but also giving the space and support to manufacturers to grow and be more dominant, I suppose, globally. So I very much concur what Adrian said. I think we've had successive governments, not wanting to get too political, who've got the focus wrong. And we don't feel like we're getting a breath as manufacturers to actually see the investment back into our industry to enable that global competitiveness to shine through. There are some really strong players out there, and they're the ones that are doing okay. We'd be doing a whole lot better if there was a little bit more substance to something that was positive, which was the industrial strategy that was released.
Yeah.
Well, it's been released, but I don't feel like there's any momentum behind it, any anything emerging from it that makes me feel warmer as a business owner to see growth or significant growth in the future for us all. So I think a call out to government really is to get on and drive that forward. Start getting the support where it's needed, starting with the SMEs and precision manufacturers. Advanced manufacturers, I think, is the buzzword at the moment. And the rewards from that will come, but it's a long-term thing. You look at China. China have been strategically investing in their manufacturing capability for over 50 years, and now they're dominating all marketplaces. And I think that's the sort of thinking we need. That's what a strategy is. It's a long-term thinking, big-time investment to get the rewards later for the youngsters that are struggling now.
Yeah, totally agree.
Okay. So moving on to more positive things and chiming perfectly with your link to youngsters, I know you're both very committed to apprenticeships, and I'll give some evidence of that in Brandauer. Stuart's son, I believe, is in the business as an apprentice. As talked in Adrian's episode, his son's within the business as well as an apprentice. So I mean, there's a commitment to apprenticeships, and there's living the commitment to apprenticeships. So congratulations to both companies for really doing that. Can I ask you to comment on what the apprentices have brought to your companies, and your thoughts in general about apprentices, and maybe if you can extend that on to thinking about the SME manufacturing audience that this podcast is really trying to address. So your thoughts on apprentices and the value of them to SME manufacturers.
Who do you want to go first?
Sorry, Rowan.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
So yeah, hugely important. It goes without saying to our business, but to bring that to life a little bit, I've always got a minimum of 10 apprentices across the business. We maintain that through thick and thin. Now, we don't do 10 every year. We do roughly 2 to 3 every year, but that 10 is made up of ones that are progressing through their apprenticeship and their career. To put it bluntly, if I hadn't have really got to grips with that about 10 years ago, I don't think we'd have had a business, because I've got a 70% conversion rate now on every apprentice that we home grow, and half of my senior management team have been homegrown. So it goes without saying, nationally we've got a skill shortage. One of the options you have is to grow your own, which makes it sound dead easy. It isn't. You have to work at every element of it to secure the right people, the right funding, partner with the right training provider, and then look after them. That pastoral care through their journeys as important, and picking up little issues like we talked about earlier on, where somebody's not quite found their niche. So the travesty would be as if we train them and they go outside of engineering. I see that as failure. If we can keep them working in our sector, and hence the referral to Bruderer for one of our young lads who's about to finish his apprenticeship, it's vital. It makes us all better by doing that. Giving young people opportunities is my future succession plan. At some point, I do hope I can retire, and at that point, I need a skills pool in my business that can pick up the mantle and run with it, and that's so important for us.
Adrian?
Yeah, to carry on from Rowan, I mean, completely concur with everything Rowan's just said. From Bruderer's point of view, it is our mission to take on apprentices, admittedly not as many as what Brandauer does, and it's not just about Bruderer, it's about the greater good. So therefore, if we can train young people into being engineers and give them the skills for the future in whatever aspect they choose to go, and if it may not be Bruderer, but we are giving a chance to that young person, and by Bruderer also going to lots of exhibitions around training schools, being there, showing what we do, what our machines do, so they can see familiar things that they pick up every day, such as their iPhone, and see that all the components that are made in that machine are actually made on Bruderer machines, and it's in Telford or Brandauer's or whoever That then gives them the greater scope to think bigger, think where they're going to go. And the other thing is, I mean, at the exhibition at the NEC was showing 3 machines actually manufacturing parts at the show. And as I explained to local MPs that came around, this is engineering, you know, at an NEC with carpets, no dirtiness, a precision engineering, making precision parts to within microns. And people don't understand the aspect of microns, you know, 3-4 microns. And then you actually look at the fact that half the thickness of your ear is 30-40 microns. They can't get the concept. But actually, when you're showing it in real time, that's what we do. Getting state-of-the-art excellence out to the greater marketplace and the youth.
Brilliant. So we were talking about apprentices, but if I can open up the sort of same question to just be a talent pipeline, so beyond just apprenticeships, but however you have people and develop them. Can I ask you, if I stay with you to start with, Adrian, can I ask your thoughts on how you, I guess, develop a talent pipeline, the issues of a talent pipeline, and particularly the challenges of developing people within an SME when there's so much to do and there's a limited resource?
The problem is the limited resources is a problem, and we're using recruitment companies and what have you who seem to just go after low-hanging fruit. You have to generate your own pipeline, because recruitment can be costly and they don't get what you need really. And so it's by taking people on, interviewing different people, and then looking at them and saying, could I apply them to this side of the business, and growing them within your business. Sometimes you just need to give them a bit of an edge, so that they can actually attach themselves to a progressing business and can see there is forward development within that company. That's the one side of it. But again, going back to the exhibitions that I do with the likes of Income and Make UK and what have you, is getting there, and the GTMA and the MTA and the MMA, all the rest of them, is the thing about the fact that youth are invited to these exhibitions and they can come and see technologies actually working. It's not a dirty environment. It's a high precision environment. It's very, very clean. And it is the future of the economy. If you're not manufacturing, if you're not making, if you're not doing engineering, you're not adding value. And if you're not adding value, you have not got an economy. So it is the future. So anybody out there who's thinking about engineering, do it, because you will not look back.
Aaron, that's a hard punchline to follow, but can I ask you?
Yeah, of course. Our pipeline of talent, it varies depending on the role we're trying to fill. Invariably, the most difficult talent to find is tool making. So I've talked a lot about apprenticeships, and that's one of the ways we are sort of filling it. But that's not a short-term fix. That's a medium to long-term fix. The shorter term fixes we've done more recently, which has worked really well for us, is we've actually managed to bring talent in from India, 2 highly trained tool makers who've been through an engineering degree specifically in tool making. They had 5 years experience in high-speed stamping shops in India, and both of them, fortunately for us, were over here with their partners on with a study visa. Their partners were studying master's degrees at universities, and they just ad hoc applied to me through LinkedIn, and we took them on, and they've been a massive help and addition to the business. Superb. Additionally to that, we're always on the hunt to do a little bit of stealing from those that are on the market, whether that be people that have been made redundant or straightforward headhunting because they're not happy where they are. That's been successful in the shorter term. And it's that range of approaches that have helped us sort of short, medium and long term. And I've got one initiative at the minute, which I quite like to share, which I'm doing in partnership with the Way over in Wolverhampton. They're a youth centre, predominantly for children in sort of difficult home lives. And it's effectively a youth club. They can go and do climbing, they can go and do art, they can go and play football, gym, boxing. And we're just working a way out where we can actually set up a maker's zone in this youth centre where they can go and have a go safely to make stuff and see the opportunities on the level of interest in a STEM career, with potentially signposts into apprenticeships and other routes to education that take them down that route. It's early days at the moment, but the initial response I've had has been quite significant. Obviously, you're giving underprivileged kids opportunity, but you're also potentially creating a pipeline of talent that is currently untapped at the moment. So it's something a little bit different that we're working on that hopefully might lead to some positives in all areas.
That's brilliant. That is very good.
If we move from the Midlands, and I'm going to tag Shropshire into the Midlands, hope I don't offend either party, move from region to looking at taking a global outlook. Global manufacturing's always evolving. I guess probably every generation says it's moving faster than it ever did before, so I'm going to say it's moving faster than it ever did before. Can I ask you your thoughts on how collaborations help you maybe manage the rate of change, manage the technology, improve capabilities and competitiveness? So Rowan, can I ask you first, what are your thoughts on how collaboration, which is really the theme of this episode, how does it help you manage this rate of change?
I think collaboration is something we've done a lot more of in the last sort of 10 years across the piece, whether that's collaborative R&D, which is funded R&D through Innovate UK, collaborations with our suppliers and technology partners like Bruderer, or whether it's just purest collaboration of like-minded manufacturers. We do it a lot, and what comes from that are new ideas, fresh thinking, problem shared is a problem halved, the old pun, isn't it? But that very often when you're in those sort of collaborations, you can talk to people, and invariably there's somebody be in that mix that's been through it before or has seen something that is pertinent that could help you out in that. So for us, it's fundamental to our strategy. If I come back to Bruderer specific collaborations that we do quite a lot, and I think Adrian's touched on this a little bit, is exhibitions. Trade shows and exhibitions are not just about selling what you do. They're about offering a platform to collaborate on all sorts of different topics, keep up with emerging or new technologies, and essentially with that comes opportunity. So we have done exhibitions together. Bruderer was kind enough to have components that we've stamped on their machines, on their exhibition stands. A lot of our promo stuff has got on our exhibition stands has got Bruderer badges and presses in them. All of that goes to help our industry and support growth of both of our companies. So I think we need to do more of it. If we can double down and crack on and do more of it, I think it only leads to opportunity.
Excellently put. From us as a company, Bruderer Worldwide, I visit exhibitions from, Germany right the way over to the Far East. And from there, you see loads of different things that are being done. And as a saying goes, to try and reinvent the wheel is futile. And sometimes you go over there and you talk to these different people and you see things that you can only pass on to your colleagues and customers such as Brandauer's. And it is absolutely imperative that this carries on and that we do that. Exhibitions, again, is a superb place. Not only the days where you're showcasing your machines, but when you go and break bread on an evening and you talk about everything and you get to know the Germans, the Italians, the Chinese, the Japanese, that is true globalization. And that is, Bruderer is a global company and we share everything that we learn to actually make us stronger. And that's the key point, making us stronger.
Schoolboy error there to have my mic muted. Sorry, Adrian. I know that you've got a centre of excellence in Telford for prototyping and development work with customers. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when we the concept of this new premises here is absolutely paramount, that we had an area of the workshop, so to speak, that was for preliminary anything that we were selling, the machines, the new, the pre-owned and what have you, and also to offer free tool trials on our machines. And by showcasing the fact that we can do that, it actually opens the eyes to customers of what's achievable. But added to that, also the likes of other companies coming in, if they're doing development work and they've got all their machines up to capacity, they can use our machines to actually develop their projects and fault find or what have you. So collectively doing that is absolutely paramount for our customers. Our turnkey solution part of the business, we needed space. We needed to be able to put a line down in here. That's probably there for 3 months while we put everything together, get it running, get the first off samples, prove it's a operational line, get it passed off, ship it off to the customers, job's good. So from that point of view, it's allowed us to move into lots of different markets and actually contribute to the UK manufacturing sector in some form or another.
Cool. Final question on sort of the businesses. Can I broaden things out a little bit and ask, do you have any particular thoughts on technology, perhaps the challenges, the opportunities? What do you think is hot, or what do you think is going to be a problem? And again, if we can put an SME sort of manufacturing focus on that. Tell us about technology, and kick off with Rowan.
Yeah, I mean, technology is embedded in our current business strategy, really, and that's in terms of increasing the amount of value we can add for our customers. And a great example of that, we won some business at the end of last year, which we're mid delivery of at the moment, in terms of all of the tooling and development. But essentially, it's a multi-part assembly made up of 3 pressed components. The 2 of the components are stamped offline on a Bruderer, and the 1 metal component is then those 2 components are clinched onto it, and it's supplied into the EU, and it goes into a particulate filter in very high volume. So somewhere around 50 million total parts. An assembly is probably 10 million or so, something like that. And key to us doing that is automation. So the stamping element, we're experts at. That's what we do, and we're in the process of developing those tools and sampling them. The automation element, we're building a bespoke automation line which does the final assembly of the parts, cleans them, inspects them, and packs them all in one automated line. We're adding a huge amount more value for no extra labor costs, essentially, and we're globally competitive as a result. That business is currently sourced from China by our customer, and they're reshoring it to be closer to home, and they've picked us to do it. So in terms of technology, aside from what we do well, which is, I would say, is pretty high tech already, automation is very much a topic for us, and we are automating new projects as they come across our desks, and we quote them and hopefully secure them. And I've quoted multiple jobs with automation on in the last 3 months.
Cool. Adrian, thoughts on technology challenges or opportunities?
Yeah, for us as a company, technology is absolutely paramount, and going back to the skill shortage and what have you. So from Bruderer's point of view, our new latest control, the B3 control, is basically utilizing all the downfalls within an operation of setting up a machine and basically doing things for you. So we're using technology, and also it's intuitive. We've copied really probably how iPhones work and what have you, something that every single day that we're used to controlling, and we can follow through. And that goes right from all ages. You know, sometimes the computer control systems were very, very complicated, but by applying the ethos of the latest technologies, where you just move 2 steps and you get what you want, and it's intuitive and it comes back to you, helps with training people that they actually do when they go into McDonald's and orders a burger, the same kind of concept. So that's where we're using technology. on our latest controls. But also we're adapting the likes of AI, where AI is being used within the business for lots of different things, such as even writing basic letters, where it's helping people who haven't probably got the skills. They know what to say in layman's terms, but it doesn't really get across. And so by them putting it into an AI bot, it gives them information. And from that point of view, also using the website, it's just, again, how to get through to people about what you're trying to do, what you're about, and how your company operates, is by using the latest technologies of AI. And this is feeding through a lot of our
Brilliant. This show goes out on a Saturday morning, so many people watch it during the weekend. So can I ask what topics you enjoy talking about at the pub, shops, anywhere outside of work and a computer? Adrian first, what do you chat about?
Well, as I alluded to at the start, I'm still very, very passionate about engineering, and it's both at work and at home. So I love motorbikes, cars, tinkering with radio control helicopters and stuff like that. So, you know, one of the things I could say about being a managing director is when you can work all day looking at the screen, trying to get through the daily routine. Sometimes you lose job satisfaction. So my get out is sometimes I go down on the shop floors and start taking presses apart or putting a tool in the press, and I get excellent job satisfaction from that, because you feel as though you're doing something. And so when I'm back at home, my passion is motorbikes and rebuilding them and stuff like that. So I'm always talking about something with engineering involved. From a personal basis, so that's where I'm at.
Rowan, over to you. What do you chat about?
What do I chat about aside from work? Because it seems to be a 24/7 job, which never seems to switch off. If I'm honest,
True.
Running a company, particularly now it's mine as well. It is quite difficult to switch off. So I suppose what I've rediscovered in the last sort of 12 months is golf, which sounds pretty dull. But I used to play golf 15 years ago, and I stopped because it stressed me out. I never found myself getting any better. I thought, this is giving me more stress than actually downtime. And I've been rallied by the toolroom team here at Brandauer, who are a real mix of ages. Probably average age of about 30, and it seems to have got very popular again. And they've rallied me into starting to play golf again. And I've come out of retirement in the last 12 months, and it's going really well. It's funny, your mindset changes as you get a little bit older. I don't want to hit the ball 300 yards. I'd rather hit it straight and short, and it somehow had a positive effect. So I actually really quite enjoy it at the minute. So there you go, golf for me.
Brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, my next question is always at the end of the show. It's a tradition to ask, what do you have planned, or what do you hope to achieve in the next 12 months? So I'm going to start by asking Rowan, is that going to be improving your golf, or do you have some other aims and hopes for the next 12 months?
Oh, gosh, no, forget the golf. If I'm still doing golf in 12 months, I'll be staggered. No, I suppose there's a couple of things business related for me. One is I am going to find some way of safely using AI in the business. I have to say I'm struggling at the minute. We've got 2 or 3 different sort of embryonic pilot projects that are going through, and all of them are faltering. Because the minute it gets mildly complicated, and what we do is complicated, it seems to struggle. However, I've got one use case that's probably showing more promise than others, and that's around new customer management and quotations that we're moving reasonably good pace forward with. So in 12 months' time, let's hope I've managed to quote a job using AI. Let's say that.
Brilliant.
Okay. Adrian, what do you have planned for the next 12 months? Or what are your hopes as well?
Yeah, so for Bruderer, my plans are for Bruderer is to build and continue building the team. I'm very proud of the fact that when we moved from Luton to here, and the people we've taken on here, we've brought our average age down to 37, which is good, because it's looking after the future. And I intend to build on that by bringing more people in, so therefore the future is looked after as regards to our support on our engineers. We as a company need to grow in lots of different areas, and working with our colleagues such as Brandauer to actually be more of a team effort, so we're a force on this global platform that we try and contribute all along. That is there. Personally, again, I'm aligning the situation for the business so that the business will carry on when I'm gone, or if I go. That's not in the short term, but the long term, because I need to start making sure that the top of the tree is looked after. And whether I go in 4 years or whether I go in 10 years, the point is you need to be bringing these persons into the business, so therefore there is a good handshake between us and our customers. Yeah, travel more is the other thing. I want to go away more.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds an objective I can relate to very much. Cool. Can I ask you then, gents, to tell the audience, how do they find out more about the companies and how do they follow you? Adrian, can you kick off, please?
Okay, you can find us on www.bruderer.co.uk or bruderer.com. If you want to contact me, it's adrian.haller@bruderer.com. And you can follow us on all the social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You'll find us somewhere. Just put in Bruderer, you'll get to us, or indeed me.
Rowan.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to start with our website, www.brandauer.co.uk. 95% of my inquiries come directly through that website now. And watch this space, because we're not far off launching a new one in the next 6 to 8 weeks. And that's continued investment really in that platform. You want to reach me, it's rcrozier@brandauer.co.uk or LinkedIn. Again, my LinkedIn appears to be the face of the company. And I thought I had a face for radio, if I'm honest, not TV. But yeah, so just go on LinkedIn, search for C Brandauer & Co Limited. You'll find me through there and send me a message.
Brilliant. Before I sign off and say thank you to you, gents, can I ask you for a final sentence, question, observation, or thought? What would you like to sign off the episode with, please? And I'm going to ask Rowan first, so that gives Adrian a little bit longer to think.
I suppose I want to leave people with a memory of Brandauer. We tend to make the little things that make all the bigger things work. Yes, the environment we're trading in is challenging, but the future is very much bright and buoyant. Let's knuckle down, crack on. Those that are doing a great job, collaborating, working in the irons of technology, will still be here in 30 years' time. It's a great career opportunity for young people. So call out to young people, come and work in engineering.
It's a good one. Sorry, Adrian, I've set you up there. That's a hard one to follow, but I've got faith in you. Go on.
Yes, I think the one thing we've got to learn and look at is that 70 million people don't give up. And whatever challenges that we come up against, there'll be lots ups and downs. We keep pushing forward. I have a saying that's on my mentor on my WhatsApp, is keep punching. And that's what we've got to do. Keep looking forward, keep punching. And all you youth out there, come and get a career in engineering and manufacturing. You will not regret it.
Yeah, I think the three of us can reinforce that. It's we hear a lot of negative things all the time in the press, but all three of us have had fantastic lives because of it, and I would firmly recommend it to others.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, gents. I'm going to wrap up by saying the usual bits and inviting people to make contact. So if you have a comment, a suggestion, if you'd like to appear in a future episode, please email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com or contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. From me, Mark Weymouth, the Sensor Specialist Plus Automation, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have fun.